Hey guys, welcome back to Clockwork, Dandy Noodles. It's been 2 weeks. I have missed everybody so much. We are finally back with 86. This is episode 7. Before we get going, make sure you guys are subscribed. I am starting to plan out my end of season review, the big one. The one where I will be summing up my experiences with full anime 2021. What are my top 3 anime of the season? It's a bit of a fight, guys. I tell you, it's going to be a hard one. It's going to be a close one. I think the top 2 are literally swapping back and forth. And I can't wait to show you guys when I finally make my decision and finally... There's also a Discord channel too for you guys to get notified whenever videos drop on the channel. And you can also use that to, yes, it will help you know when the next 2-week break is over. You heard me. There is another 2-week wait. We have episode 7. There's now going to be another 2-week break before we get the next episode. And hopefully after that, it means we'll be resumed to normal releasing. Maybe, I hope so. My goodness, it was so sad. All right, thank you guys. And thank you, Tanya, for telling me. But I was heartbroken to hear that there's going to be another 2-week wait. The 2-week wait we've already had was really difficult. I don't think I'm in as much as a situation where last time I was panicking. I wanted answers. Now that it's 2 weeks later, I'm in a better place. I've forgotten about it. I've moved on a little bit. And we don't really end on much of a cliffhanger as much as the one last time. I feel like I can handle this next 2-week wait a little bit better. So I hope you guys also are doing okay and you've coped and you're prepared to do another 2-week wait. But we are indeed back with the good stuff and I'm glad to just dive right in. We are now sending the 86 out on the big mission. This is the big one. This whole episode is us gearing up for the big mission to attack the Morpho and the score. I've got so much good stuff to say about that. I really missed that as well. But we are going to start with some mirroring. There's a lot of mirroring going on in this episode because we open with Ernst, our Prime Minister, talking to the guy who proposed the mission in the first place about the 86 and sending the 86 out on an impossible mission, which mirrors similarities with Spearhead. The idea that the Spearhead unit were always sent out on a mission of impossible win. They didn't have to back up. For different reasons, the mission was impossible and it was there to eliminate them. Oddly enough, the mirroring continues even in the Federation, with Ernst even saying there was a group who believed that it was best just to eliminate the 86. So there were people who saw them being rescued and didn't think that was the point and that was pointless and you should just eliminate them. So now it's those people who are also stating that we should send them to go and attack the Morpho, this really big, impossible mission. As well, the idea of eliminating the 86 hasn't been put to bed. Just because we're in the Federation, that idea still remains. But what really is the truth behind the choice? As Ernst states, we are built on justice, a nation built on justice, which is a complete 360 to San Magnolia, rest in peace, the nation that was built on blood and injustice. Was it because of the need to eliminate the 86, or was it because the unit itself was so strong, they displayed so much strength that they really believed that the 86 would be the best people to fight the Morpho? Is it injustice or is it might? I like the line that one day they may come to grow accustomed to the new country. One day they may settle down in the Federation. A lot of thing to think about. We've never really thought about the future when it comes to the 86. It's always an anime that keeps us in the here and now. It sets us in the present. The focus is in the present, always the present. We never think there's going to be much of a future. And it's the same with the 86. They've never really thought ahead. Often when you ask Shin what he's going to do in the future, it's just something they've never really considered. So it's a weird thing to think about that they may one day, if they live, come back and actually settle down and live in the Federation. Now, talking about Gref, I think her name's Gref. I'm probably pronouncing that one wrong. She is the general of the... I would say Spearhead. I don't know if they're using the same name, but general of the mission, the group, the 86 who are going out to fight. Well, we do get a bit of information on her that she actually ended up losing her husband/fiance. I'm not sure which of the two it was, to the Legion. She lost a lot to the Legion, and I like this character. I like Gref. I think she was a fantastic character in the last episode as well. She's a great character, and the fact that she really wants to stand by the idea that kids really shouldn't be out there risking their lives on the battlefield. It's time to meet a new toy. I like the new toy, but my goodness, it's interesting. It is the XC1. It is time to take to the skies kind of. It doesn't go very far. It floats above the ground. It uses motion, or I'm pretty sure there's really big science here, and I can imagine we're very close to having stuff in the real life like this machine, some kind of force to travel a few meters above the ground really, really quickly. And this thing moves very, very fast. And the fact that their mission to cover over 1,000 kilometers is going to take 9 minutes. I let the mathematicians do the maths on that one there. How many miles per hour is that thing going? The thing I've missed the most of 86, as well as the foreboding, the doom that follows watching this anime, is the Sawano score. I have really missed Hiroyuki Sawano. He hasn't really been present in a lot of anime this year in general. Obviously, he's very busy with his work for Titan, and I definitely had that next season. But his work for 86 too can't be overlooked. His work is really, really good. I've got a bit more to say about it a bit later on, where it becomes very potent, when it's very important. His score is used very, very cleverly a bit later on with the speech with Ernst, and I'll talk about it when we get to that part. But it really has been 2 weeks, and we are learning the name for the XC1. I'm not pronouncing it because I'll butcher it, but it's named after a vampire, the idea of rising up from the grave and the idea of bells. Here's the symbology, guys. Here's the symbology, because the idea of bells tolling, and if you're a Metallica fan, for whom the bell tolls. Hearing the bell generally symbolizes death. It was the coming of death. If you start hearing bells, people will tell you it's a very bad omen to hear bells. It's also quite the perfect fit for a reaper of death. There's a lot of symbology for death here. However, the vampire, it's a little bit different from the idea of death. Vampires are undead. They rise up. They cannot die. This, in its sense, could be a little spark of hope, if anything, that they might rise up from the ashes. I like this. I like the symbology going on. I like the fact that we've got vampires and we've got this idea of the reaper now with the bell tolling. The bell is hopefully tolling for the Morpho. The plot starting to go back to its more downcast form, with the idea that we're not going home. When Frederica raises the question, how are you going to get back? Well, that's not important. That's something that the 86 have never really considered. It's not important to them. To them, it's important to focus on the mission, take down the Morpho. You can't leave it as it is. It mimics season 1. It mimics the idea of there being no way home. Vladilina's always speaking about things and she didn't quite get it. And the 86 had to tell her, it's because we're not coming back. We're never coming back. There's no future. The reason why Shin is leaving in 26 days, and she believed that was the end of his term or something, it's because he's never coming back. And that is mimicked in this episode. There is a lot of mirroring going on in this episode. And we go to quite a painful scene with Frederica and Shin. This is a very painful scene, and it also has mimics to season 1. Frederica refusing to leave, and I like the fact that she does say, if you say that you've got the right to decide how you go and how you live, why can't I also have that decision? Why is it not down to me to also choose how I live? Shin seeing through it, Shin understanding that she doesn't want to see Kiri die. I also wondered as well if it would be because Frederica thought she had a chance to talk some sense into Kiri. We've seen it doesn't really go down well with the Legion. The Legion are mindless, and I think also the idea that Shin is trying to protect her from becoming him is mentioned a lot in this as well. A lot of undertones that he really doesn't want her to become like him because he sees almost a younger self of him in Frederica. There's a lot of links with these characters. These characters are mimicking one another. She mimics a younger form of Shin and the idea of Kiri, and the fact that she maybe sees Kiri in Shin as well, and Shin with his brother. There's a lot of the ideas of knights. I said a lot of things with the knight symbology, with the idea that Shin saw his brother as a knight and Frederica had a literal knight. There's a lot of mimicking going on. This idea of regret and following ghosts. I like the symbology in general of the idea of following a ghost. Shin following his brother, Frederica following her knight. And she tries to play the whole regret card on him, which is painful because she tries to pull on the whole idea that you regretted not telling your brother to not go, and now you're letting me suffer the same fate. Her words do actually make a dent. It's tiny and I had to replay it. Shin flinches. He flinches very briefly. His eye, the animation on his eye looks like it wobbles or something. It's definitely you're hitting a nail on the head here. He is being affected by the words, but he's just trying not to let it show too much. This fully resembles Vladilina's run away. Just run away, go away, just abandon everything and run. This idea, it really does mimic the same scenes. Occasionally, Frederica reminds me of Vladilina. Sometimes she reminds me of Shin. She's a mix between the two of the characters as well. But Shin really can't turn back. He is gonna go. He has to go. He can't not go. On the other hand, Frederica apparently agrees not to go. We don't see her seeing them off. However, I don't buy it. I do not buy it. I believe she's hidden somewhere. I believe she's stowed away, and I think she's going to come back later, because I don't buy the fact that she's sulking in her room. I think she's definitely going to be at the front lines. I don't think it's the end of the character just yet. Let's talk about the red filter we get as we prepare to launch. The idea that danger is lying ahead, a bit of foreboding, the idea that there could be bloodshed coming our way, is also the idea of passion and power, which Shin is definitely becoming more and more slightly dangerous in his own self. The visual display behind him is quite nice. It mimics the one that Vladilena had, and you can see all of their names still on the board. But this indeed is going to be a fight to the end, and Grief really is a character I really do like, and her telling them, I really do not want you guys to die. I don't want kids to die. I am opposing this. Her saying, even with Ernst as well, nobody here wants you to die, which is the complete opposite of what their old country was like. Now, the XC1 gets a nice paint job and goes black, and it looks a lot more stealthy. I like it in black. I think it looks good. I like this model in black, guys. I want one. Where we are given the highest priority mission. You must come back alive no matter what. You must survive. And it's the way that they react. They can't promise anything, but it's also they've never had a mission like this before. They've never been told you have to survive. It's never been a priority that they can even think about. The Prime Minister really emulating Vladilena at this point, even getting her blue filter. He gets the same filter that she normally gets, and he is emulating her because he's sitting now waiting for news, not really getting an eyes on the situation. He just has to wait, and that's similar to Vladilena, where he'll probably be updated, told what's going on, or he'll maybe even hear a feed the same way and be able to talk to them, but he has to wait, just like Vladilena did. Now let's talk about Hiroyuki Sawano and his music. Absolute kudos during this point, because this moment now when the music starts to play and the violins start to come in and it's really slowly building up and you get this marching beat going on, which is very similar to everybody now kicking out and the ground crews going out there to fight. And those drums start kicking in and you can hear over all of this Ernst's speech. Ernst's speech is spine-chilling. I love it. It is an operation of a lifetime. The speech is moving, and I love the fact as well that it's paired up to a Hiroyuki Sawano score, because it's the perfect match made in heaven. He really does excel when it comes to military anime like this. I like Ernst's character. He really strikes me as a man who really wants change, because he states, if you die out there, I am going to be tearing apart this country, which is very similar to, again, Vladilena. She wanted to destroy the country that was trying to benefit off of people going out there to die. And he doesn't want his own country to become the same way, because if they die and they win, his country will also be built on the same thing, almost similar to San Magnolia, where it was built on sacrifice. It is mission start, and the countdown clock really starting to build tension and hope. The score starts to rise. I really like it. It's building a form of hope that we may actually win. We may have a chance. This is a counter-attack mankind, if you want to have a nice little Hiroyuki Sawano /Titan link there. Also, kudos to you if you got that link. It is an anime that has always struck me as hopeless. I always told you guys, I never saw this anime have a good ending. I could never work out how it's ever going to end happy. But today's episode really felt like a turn of a tide, a glimmer of hope. The music giving us that hope. The music is in a major key. The music itself is trying to tell you, this is a big moment. This isn't supposed to be a sad moment. It's supposed to be hopeful. This could be the change in the tide. Seeing the XC1 moving incredibly fast and actually seeing the 86 maybe fearing something. They're a little bit terrified of the way the thing moves. And we see them for the first time exhibiting some kind of fear, because they are human. At the end of the day, they are still kids. The ground unit's starting to get wiped out as the music starts to play and the ED starts to play and rise up as well. It's returning to that old hopelessness again with the ground units getting wiped out, but we're not giving up. Sadly though, we do end on a bit of a sour note where even if we have hope and no matter what country we're in, the attitudes to the 86 are still there. They haven't changed. They can hear what they're saying about them over the channels, and it's just that nice sour note to end the episode on. Even worse, we're ending on that Shin grin. The grin that Shin is starting to hear the Legion, and he's starting to unwind, become a bit unraveled, a bit on the edge, and he's falling apart. I feel like he's definitely losing his sanity, and it's an interesting look, in a sense, of a character who is starting to fall apart, and what the traumas of war and hearing those voices would do to anybody. It's definitely making his sanity a big question point. It was another fantastic episode. I didn't get any answers about my dear Vladilena. I am so worried about her right now. That's the worst thing, is that I'm going a month without seeing Vladilena or having any questions answered about where she is. Is she alive by any miracle? What happened? So there's a lot of questions I have going on. I want to know, is it really just that's it, rest in peace, we're never going back there? Because Vladilena's on all the posters. You can't tell me the poster girl is dead. I don't buy it, guys. I don't buy it. But we now have to wait another 2 weeks. It's painful, guys. It's so painful. All I want to do is just watch this anime, but there is no other episodes, and it's keeping me on the edge. I want to know more. I want to know what's going on. I hope you guys are doing okay. Thank you guys as well if you have tuned back in and have waited for 2 weeks for me. Thank you so much. It really means a lot. I hope you can wait another 2 weeks to tune back in with me as we get to talk about another episode of 86. Have a good day, guys. Make sure you are taking care of yourselves. Bye-bye.